As part of 5.6, they introduced the seamless gameplay transitions cinematics using the sequencer anim mixer. We're going to take a quick look at sequencer anim mixer and see what that's like. So open up a 5.6 project, any project, go to edit, go to plugins, type in anim mixer and tick the sequencer anim mixer, and it will say, like, do you want to restart? And then we should restart. Next thing, go to your content drawer and just grab out any skeleton that you've got. So Quinn, like I say, we're only doing this for testing, so just to play with. And then at the top, we can add a level sequencer. And then we can go to our outlier, get our Quinn skeleton, drag it into here, and we can delete the animations, the body, and the transform. And then we can click the little plus button and we can add in the animation mixer. And then if we click the animation mixer, we can add an animation. I'm going to add the standard attacks, got attack 1, and then I'm going to add another one for attack 2. And to start with, I'm just going to place them next to each other, one after another, as we would do any normal animation. So then we do this attack, it stops here, and we go to a second attack. So that's how I would normally build an animation, and that's how it would normally work. One thing I would say is be careful if you have root motion turned on. So I'll go to properties and find the animation and go to attacker 1. I've turned root motion off, but if you tick root motion on and then go back to play, that skeleton disappears and doesn't reappear. It's a bit weird. I don't quite understand what's going on here, but then if I turn it off, it goes against everything I've sort of know to date. If I turn off root motion, then it won't disappear, so it will be there. Now perhaps it's because it's the sequencer, I don't know, but yeah, that is what it is. So this would be how I would normally set up a animation to like loop them together and stuff. Let me see, there's a bit of like snapping back and forth. So what I can do now is I can put this one on the bottom, and then in the weights, if you look here, we're just going to do like this little shuffle forward, which is pretty cool because it's blending between the two. But if I put this weight at 0 for the second one, you'll see I complete the first punch completely and don't do anything. And if, say, I put this at like 0.5, you can see that kind of do something and then do something else. What we can do, rather than having these two sort of blur themselves together, let me zoom in on my guy a little bit so you can see better. He's going to throw his nothing because it's trying to blur between the two of them. So for this one, it's 0.5 the whole way through. And he's going to throw that right hook and then jump forward a little bit. But actually, I still want him to throw this left hook. I'll just put this on like 13. I still want to see the end of that animation. The first animation. So here, that looks good. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a key. So we're going to wait the 1 here up until here. And then I'm going to change it to 0 on like the next frame. And then for MM attack, I'm going to have the weight as 1 and then key that at the start. And then just as it's finished here, I can put the weight to 1 and then the next frame, put it down to 0. So now I can sort of move between the two. That was a bit fast actually. So here we are throwing that first punch and then stopping just as we throw it, and then gonna pick it up in the middle here and start throwing our hook. And then once the hook's finished, I can play a third one, but I've just stopped it. So I can even just say, run it through all the way then, and it returns back to normal. It's just a different sort of way of blending stuff, like in a more dynamic way without actually having to fiddle with the sequences and cut them and stuff like that, which is quite nice. And then to make it into an animation, you can just come up to SK Quint Skeleton, bake animation sequence, and you should be able to get the length. Because we don't want it to be 120 frames, we only want it to be like 45. So if you select custom time range, and then you select frame there, you can even set a custom frame rate if you want. It's a bit of a pain that it just doesn't snap to it straight away, but if you just export that, and then you can go to your sequence 2, yours probably wouldn't be sequence 2. You can see that we're doing the whole entire animation, and then I can put that into a game, or you can use this into a cutscene and build it out. But that is the animation mixer. I'm pretty sure I've just scratched the surface on it, and there's so much more you can do with it. I'd be interested in seeing the other part of this, where it just blends in and out using motion matching. That seems really cool. We'll keep working on it and keep trying to improve and see where we're going to go from there.